Здравствуйте всем, кто сейчас настроен на радио USA. И в эфире сейчас немножко необычное время для того, чтобы я заходила в эфир. Меня зовут Анна Пекерман. Необычное оно, потому что к нам пришел очень хороший гость, очень нужный гость, особенно в такое время, как сейчас. Это гость, который баллотируется от республиканской партии в горсовет города Нью-Йорк. И сейчас я... баллотируется от республиканской партии в горсовет, 47-й избирательный округ, Бруклин. И очень важно, чтобы он сейчас нам... Сегодня много всего произошло, и у нас много новостей, такие как мэр города Эрик Адамс, к сожалению, вышел из гонки на следующий пост мэра. Также сегодня закончился проект The Coney, то есть у нас больше нету шансов, что казино в Бруклине выстроится. Но самое главное, это что выборы 4 ноября, и Джордж баллотируется от горсовета, и поэтому нам очень важно услышать, что он баллотируется от республиканской партии в горсовет, и поэтому нам очень важно узнать, что он хочет нам сказать сегодня, потому что то, что происходит сейчас в нашем городе, это очень страшно, опасно, интересно, и поэтому, Джордж, welcome.
Thank you for having me on again, Anna. I really appreciate that.
It's always a great pleasure, and now it's especially important for us to have you here today because so much has happened.
Imagine a couple of days ago we were like, what are we going to talk about, you know?
Yeah, that's not the case anymore. So we have a lot to talk about, and I am so grateful that you are here today.
Thank you for having me on again.
Oh, absolutely. And we need to start with the most important topic that everyone is talking about, and that's obviously the fact that Mayor Adams, very unfortunately, has called it quits yesterday.
Well, I want to, thank him for doing the right thing. He had no chance to win. We all knew that. Mm-hmm. I mean, he was polling at 8-10%. He was not even making double digits in a lot of these polls. So, listen, love him, hate him, whatever. He did the right thing for the city. And in the end, as I think in the community they say, that's a mensch. He had no chance to win. So coming out and doing the right thing, I'm sure was very hard for him, especially when he's the mayor currently. He probably thought he was entitled to a second term. And
I personally totally thought he deserved it. He was an excellent mayor, in my eyes, in my opinion. I think many people
agree to disagree.
Okay. You don't
I mean,
think
listen,
so?
I just don't think, I think his staffing criteria wasn't, I think when Bloomberg was the mayor, he put the best guy for the job, right? The best skills, the best talent, the best brain for the job that he could find in each job, because he was a businessman. That's the way he looked at the world. I think Adams a lot of times, the selection was based, I was a former cop with this guy, or I went to high school with this guy, and I think that's where he failed in the beginning, and I think over time he fixed a lot of those problems, but I think it was a little too late at that point. Just an opinion.
It's an opinion. I get it, and I respect your opinion always. Actually, I respect your opinion a lot. We all do, because we have happened to got to know you over a few months, and we totally respect you. Just for those who just tuned in, George is, again, as I said earlier, running for city council seat, 47th district here in Brooklyn. It's Bay Ridge, it's Dyker Heights, it's, help me out, George.
So it's Bay Ridge, Coney Island, Dyker Heights, Gravesend, a little bit, so it's Coney Island, Dyker Heights, Seagate, that was the one I forgot.
Absolutely. Those are heavily populated Russian-speaking areas.
So we better not forget it.
All of them are. And you're a Republican.
Absolutely.
That's a huge plus for the Russian-speaking immigrant community in America. We are definitely.
Imagine people from the former Soviet Union don't want communism and socialism.
No, that scares us. Right now, this is a very scary thought that this is a possibility. So realistically, we need to speak about what. Okay, we're jumping. Okay, let's.
I understand. We really want to get into it, huh?
We are getting into it. So the thing is that, yes, okay, so Mayor Adams, even though he was a Democrat, he was very conservative mayor.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. He was not a socialist.
No, and he stood for common sense. Okay, as a Republican, obviously, you stand for common sense. And you stand for good values, family values, and everything that our community values.
I always say the values that I'm going to represent are the ones that I hear from knocking on doors. They're not the values of academia that some professor came up with. I have a thought. Let's defund the police because, I wrote a paper on it. These are the values that people are telling me when you knock on the door. We want to have more police. We want to have quality of life. We want to have, clean sidewalks and clean streets and affordability and good schools and et cetera, right? These are not the values of the guy who gets in an Uber, goes in the Uber, goes to a fine restaurant, gets back in the Uber, and goes back to his $3 million condo. That's not this community. And we need those values to be represented in the city council.
100%. So you're kind of like Charlie Kirk values, I would say, right?
Yeah, listen, there's a lot of things.
It's easy now. We can identify.
Yeah, I'm not. Charlie Kirk was a little bit too far right for me on some of the religious values, but definitely politically, me and him were definitely aligned.
Okay, that's good news because I think this is something that also aligns with our community. That's just an opinion. An educated opinion that I have that I've developed over the years.
Yes. Charlie Kirk did a very brave thing to go to college campuses where the students are going to be hostile to you, right? Because they've been, let's be honest, some of them have been brainwashed, right? Instead of teaching people real skills that they can get real jobs, we're doing degrees in, queer psychology or whatever, or gender studies in the third world. And these degrees are not helping people get jobs in the marketplace,
100%. So George, it's good. It's good that we can speak to you frankly, and we share the same values. Thank God.
Thank God.
Yes. So let's. What do you think right now? New York stands to gain or lose when it comes to the mayoral election.
Well, let's be clear. The number one thing I don't want is a Mayor Mandami to happen. God help us. Mayor Mandami, we all know what me and you stand for, right? But what does a Mayor Mandami stand for? He stands for decriminalizing more crimes, criminals, closing down jails, legalizing prostitution, going after private property. These are not the values of New York City, and they're definitely not the values of our country. And a Mayor Mandami would be a disaster. And a lot of your audience didn't come over here to live in some, and I use it in quotes, socialist utopia that they want to design, because that never works out.
100%. None of it do. And this brings us to who your opponent is. Your opponent happens to be a protege of Mamdani, someone he already endorsed.
They worked together on a campaign. She is a DSAer, a Democratic Socialist of America. She is a working families candidate. She is on their line. Her club, the Bay Ridge Democrats, endorsed Mamdani right out of the gate. I'm hearing from Democrats in the community that were very upset that they didn't even get a chance to say, hey, I'm for Adams or Como, because her club, the Bay Ridge Democrats, already made their decision. We're going to be for Mamdani.
Scary.
Yeah. Imagine that. The Democratic Party didn't want a democracy in their club, So that's what I'm hearing from people and Democrats it's a Bay Ridge club. And Democrats in the community are upset because they're like, well, for a small part of the district, maybe they'll support Mamdani, but there's a lot of Democrats that would have been okay with Adams or Cuomo. A majority, I would say, over Mamdani.
And where do you
Unfortunately, they didn't show up at the primary, you know?
We understand you're a Republican, but in your opinion, Sliwa or Cuomo?
I have a hard time to even look at Cuomo, because the problem I see with him, there's two problems I see. One, there's death on his hands, blood on his hands.
Yes.
15,000 seniors died. I'm sorry, I can't see past that. Mm-hmm. And he had access to a boat that Donald Trump, the president of the United States, gave him that was right off the Hudson River, that he could have put those seniors in. He had the Jacob Javits Center. Yes. He could have put them in there. Instead of sending them back to the senior homes, and they died. And now keep in mind, that's somebody's grandmother, somebody's grandfather, somebody's mother, somebody's father, somebody's brother, somebody's sister. It's not an abstract thought when you say 15,000 people died. Now you could say, okay, the first 1,000 people died because they didn't know, but people kept going there and people were dying. They knew that people would die when they send them back to the senior center, back to a senior home or whatever. And I just can't get past that. I'm sorry. So it would be Sliwa for me. And the second thing is, Cuomo is a chameleon. He'll say one thing and then he'll say another. He voted, I want to remind the audience, he supported bail reform. He voted on it. You know, when it was politically expedient, he was against it. And then when the tide turned against him, when the far lefties took over the Democratic Party and the Assembly and the state Senate, he flipped. And then he voted for bail reform in the middle of the night in a budget bill. So nobody could see it. Nobody could really debate it. And that bail reform has led to deaths in our city.
George, 100% agree with every word you're saying. However, we're between a rock and a hard place. And you understand it, and everybody understands it. We don't want Cuomo, but for some reason, he is leading between Sliwa and him. He has better...
Well, they have to make an agreement between themselves. Somebody has to come out.
Okay, so the question is, if Cuomo comes out, which I personally do not think is ever going to happen because he's leading...
Can I make a prediction?
Yeah.
If the polls, like a couple of weeks out, don't show that he can gain it on Mamdani, I predict he will come out and endorse Mamdani.
Cuomo?
Yes, because he wants to have a future in the Democratic Party. And that's what he'll do. If he does not, because he's a political opportunist, sorry to say it that way, but he just is. I see him coming out and endorsing Mamdani, possibly if he sees that he can't even get close to Mamdani.
Well, with Sliwa in the race, he can't.
They got to work it out. One of them has to drop. I like Sliwa. He's been in the streets. He knows the issues. I've talked to Sliwa many times. You can quiz him on any policy. And you could have asked him the same question 10 years from now. He'll have the same position. He doesn't change like the wind. Well, a little bit of the cat stuff's a little crazy. I'm not gonna lie about that. I'm not a big fan of cats. I mean, I don't want cats to be harmed, but anyway. The point being, it's I would rather have Sliwa as the mayor because I feel that he's going to do the work. One of his campaign people told me, Sliwa. He's done 20-hour days with Sliwa.
Okay. Now, the question is, why would Cuomo need to come out and endorse Mamdani if he is splitting the vote and he is aiding Mamdani? Right now, both of them are for a win.
Listen, they got to work it out. Look, I've made the peace here in Brooklyn with the Republican Party. Why? Because I told the two factions that were fighting there was going to be a race here. And they were going to fight it out, and it was going to get ugly. They were going to go to court. And I urged them, as well as Councilwoman Ina Vernikoff, as well as Curtis Sliwa, as many other either candidates or electeds told them, stand down, work it out. And they worked it out. I think they can work it out, too. I have hope for. I mean, the stakes are a lot bigger than just a political party control.
Yeah, pretty much our city is in stake, and all of our lives of everyone who lives in the city of New York is at stake. So, yeah, the stakes are super high this elections. The election is November 4th. This is also when you're running, and it's very important for people to understand that you're a Republican who's running to represent a very, very dense Russian-speaking community. Again, the opposition is Mamdani's protege. We don't even want to mention the name, but she is endorsed by Mamdani. She is his protege, and people need to decide what they want. So this is a very, very serious election, and everybody understands.
To be honest with you, she hasn't even reached out. You know, I know the Russian community is made up of a very strong Jewish community. She hasn't even reached out to the Jewish community here. I'm just being honest here. She's very focused on Bay Ridge, and she hasn't even come down here to Coney Island, Warbass, Seagate, and talk to the different communities.
Well, we know where Mamdani stands on the Jewish community. So
we'll leave it at that.
Yes, exactly, and can't say it's not a worrisome situation for all of us. So, okay.
Just to be clear, I want to talk to each and every community in my district, Christian, Muslim, Jewish. I think as a Republican, actually, you know, I knock on people's doors and they're like, "Wait, I haven't seen a Republican here ever."
Really?
Yeah.
That's not a good strategy.
Yeah, I've gone to mosques and speak to them. They're like, I never had a Republican ask to speak here.
Okay.
So you got to go everywhere.
We definitely want peace, okay, especially where we reside, where our children go to school. We don't want this conflicts. This conflicting situation in the last couple of years became unbearable nationally, internationally, and all over. So, you know.
I don't want to comment on the international thing, but it's sad to see people in America fighting about it.
100%.
You know, 100%. And I would want people here to get along, for all of us to prosper, for all of us to have good schools for our children, for our streets and subway to be safe for our mothers and sisters and children. That's what I would like to see, you know. Yeah. And I think that every community wants that.
100%. Absolutely. That's what we all want. So speaking about what we want in our neighborhoods. So
something going on today I should know about?
Something everybody should know about. I know there was a split on this, you know. And of course, we're talking about the Coney project, the casino. You know, Thor Equities wanted to build a casino on Coney Island. You know, there were a lot of for a long time. How long were they trying to? It
was going on for several years. I mean, they owned the property for, I think, for a very long time. But I would say the battle, for the lack of a better word, was going on for a couple of years. You know,
do they own the whole boardwalk?
They own they don't own the boardwalk. They own a very substantial piece right behind the boardwalk.
Right.
So that is, I mean, look.
What about the Coney Island itself? No, that's a city property, isn't it?
Which property are you talking about?
The Coney Island playground attraction.
They own some of it.
Some of it, okay.
They own some of it. I don't want to get into that right now.
No. Okay, so, you know,
but they own parts of it.
Okay, so for a couple of years, they've been trying to get approvals to build casino, not just, you know, entertainment center. A lot was planned. And today, we know for sure it's not going to happen.
It's dead as disco.
That's funny.
Yeah. I mean, that's what somebody told me today, and I was like, "Wow, that's pretty funny." I was like,
"Okay." I still dance it, but all right.
Me too sometimes, but I don't think it's going to make a comeback.
Okay, but George, by the way, it's not just the Coney. It's like it seems that the casino projects have not done well across the city. The Times Square is dead. What else? Queens.
You know, they should have just kept Roosevelt Island and built 3 casinos there and called it a day, you know, because look, it's hard to tell somebody we're going to put a casino in your neighborhood and there's going to be more traffic, more, you know, more
drugs, more.
Well, I don't know about all that. I mean, listen, I've been to Foxwoods and Mohegan Sun and there's no drugs and prostitution. Look, I don't want to defend the casino.
Yeah, Mohegan Sun is in the suburbs.
It's actually in the middle of nowhere.
Exactly. It's very hard. It's not. It's just a standalone structure.
But look, Coney Island has a 17% unemployment rate.
Right.
I've told you with a mutual friend of ours, We've done toy giveaways there, and you see real poverty with the children, real poverty with families coming in. That's probably the only toy they're getting for the holidays. So we need to address that, and that's been going on for a very long time. And the Democratic Party has controlled Coney Island for a very, very long time, except for the short stint that Ari Kagan had it when he was the councilman down there, and that got re-merged into Justin Brennan's district. But for the most part, economic development in Coney Island has been tough and has been challenging. So what I feel we need to do is, listen, when I come in there as a councilman, is have an economic town hall, bring all the stakeholders, bring the property owners, the residents, the amusement park people. You got to bring them all in there, and the property owners too. You don't want to forget them, and have a sit down and figure out, how do we plan economic development for Coney Island, which incorporates all these elements that make Coney Island unique and keeps it creative, right? We don't want it to become a big shopping center that would strip all the character away. The current councilman there has been going on television and saying it needs to be people over profits. Yes, we need to consider people, obviously, but businesses don't invest if there's no profits involved. So the whole, if we're going to develop Coney Island, there has to be an element where businesses thrive. Otherwise, they're not going to pour more money into the area and employ a lot of people. And if they don't employ a lot of people, that unemployment rate is going to stay at 17%, 20%, whatever it is. These are recession numbers.
Right.
So I would like to see a town hall with all the stakeholders, and let's come up with a plan to make Coney Island year-round, thrive, employ a lot of people, and keep it Coney Island.
Yeah. It would be sad in a way if it lost its flavor too.
I mean, you wouldn't be sad if you had like a Walgreens and a Target, and these are stores I shop in, but you don't want that in Coney Island. You want it to. You want an element of Coney Island that is Coney Island. That's, hey, I went to Coney Island. I have family that visit from Greece, and they're like, oh, I want to see Coney Island, because I seen it in the movies. I seen it on a TV show. I seen it somewhere.
Yours is aquarium in your district?
Yeah, the aquarium.
New York Aquarium.
Yeah, the aquarium is.
That's actually going down pretty
I haven't been there in years.
badly.
But
no, it's not upkept. It's not what it should be either. So, unfortunately, all the attractions that Coney Island does have, which is the attractions and the aquarium, and it could have so much more. It doesn't have to be a casino. It could be just so many more.
But we need input. We need
things.
input from the community. You can't. It shouldn't be planned in a boardroom. It should be.
Yeah.
It should be a cooperative effort, planned. But also, again, businesses need to make money. They're not going to invest billions of dollars or hundreds of millions of dollars if the profit consideration is not built in. And then, that being said, we can take care of people. We can employ a lot of people. We can be cognizant of the neighborhood around us and not destroy the character of the community.
Yeah. George, last question.
Shoot.
It's an important one. We have such a split going on. We have political split. We have religious split. We have so many splits. I mean, if we are to say what this period of our life is all about, it's about conflict. Do you have any ideas how to resolve that?
Well, that's an interesting question. I feel, I'll just say for the city council, right? The city council, they're very divided, right? And I think we would want to have, and maybe I'm a little kumbaya here, right?
Yeah.
But I wonder if they ever go, and I don't think I've heard of anything like this. Do they ever go out to dinner with all of them and sit down and have a meeting and really think about not, hey, I want to have a Democratic solution or a Republican solution, but think about like what's best for the city? I don't think so.
No.
I doubt it. I really doubt it. I mean, I'm sure a couple of them go out here and there, but do they all sit down together and say, hey, what can we do to make the city safer, more affordable, all these ideas. Like, what are we hearing from the constituents? What do they want? And I don't think that's happening. So I would start with the city council, because that's a job that I'm aiming for. The general question worldwide, I don't know the answer to that, But let's start with the city council first.
It's just very sad, because once the election is over, whoever gets elected succumbs to the popular vote because they want to get reelected. So then they start to do not what's right, but what's going to get them reelected.
I just want to tell you a funny story.
Yeah.
I saw my opponent's staffers, and they were like, we were walking at this festival yesterday, and they were like they didn't know. They're like, and one of them wanted to give me like a flyer. They're like, oh, you could take this for your opposition research, right? And I'm like, nah, I don't need that. I already have that. I was like, how about I just shake your hand? And the guy was like, shocked.
Nice.
I was like, don't worry, your hand won't burn. I promise you that. And I think it starts with that. Again, we're not ready to sing Kumbaya, and I'm not going to compromise on my values, but I think civility would help.
I agree with you. I agree. Listen, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me on.
This was so pleasant. No, really. It was educational. It was pleasant. It was intelligent. And for those who are listening, please remember, November 4th, 47th Council District, George Sarantopoulos, a dear friend, a Republican, common sense,
conservative too.
Good heart.
Believe me, I'll be tough in the city council. I ain't rolling over there.
Okay, well, we would count on you for that.
Yeah.
I mean,
you can be civil, but you can be tough.
Yeah, absolutely. We can be strong without being disgusting.
Yes, absolutely.
So, George, thank you so much. We look forward to having you more, because a lot of things are still going to be happening.
I'm going to work on a surprise for you.
Yeah.
We discussed that.
Oh.
Well, we discussed.
Oh, yeah. Oh, by the way, we did want to say congratulations to Svetlana Zelinskaya.
Yes, that you're pronouncing it much better than I am.
I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly, but I think I am. Svetlana, congratulations. She became the
new vice chair of the Republican Party, and it's something
of Brooklyn.
It's something that me and my wife have been working on. Svetlana did all the work on her own, but I'm saying we wanted to bring more diversity into the Republican Party. We need a nice big tent. We need all the communities involved here in Brooklyn and the Russian community. That's their first representative, I believe, in the executive suite. She's vice chair. And look, there's been a change too. There's a new chair too. His name's Liam McCabe. I'm hopeful for the future of, building a big tent and getting everyone on.
By the way, a good friend of mine, Liam.
Oh, Liam? Yeah, he's a good guy.
He's been on our radio a few times, so say hello, tell him we're happy.
Listen, I'm sure he'd love to come in, and
we'd love to have him, both of them.
Yeah.
Yes. Listen, this is everybody knows this is a Republican radio.
No, I didn't.
I mean, we respect everybody, and really what we want more than anything, we want peace and common sense and everybody working together. We don't want separation, okay? And hopefully we can achieve that. You can achieve that for this neighborhood, because this is actually the most important thing. Nobody wants this division. Nobody wants it.
Well, I think I call it the Republican Civil War. I think we kind of calmed it down. I don't know if we're ever going to end it, but I think we got people, they were ready to get into a fight, Liam and Svetlana, and argue who's going to be the chair. But we brought them both to the table, me and obviously Councilwoman Ina Vernikov. I'm sure Curtis Sliwa put a lot of pressure on them and other people, because we wanted unity. Now, we need unity now more than ever in the Republican Party. We should not be fighting with each other for... the analogy I always say is that the Democrats are having a nice feast, and the Republicans are underneath the table fighting for the crumbs. We need to get more seats. We need to win more seats. We need to win we broke the supermajority in the Senate. We need that to happen in the Assembly, and we need more Republicans in the City Council.
We need to make our city healthy again.
Yes.
So, George, thank you so much. Thank you for the time you have allocated for us. It was a great pleasure. We look forward to having you on more. before the election and after the election, especially after the election.
Well, hopefully you'll be calling me councilman November 5th.
We are certainly hoping for that as well. So thank you again. Thank you for this great conversation. Thank you for everything you're doing and everything you're fighting for. George Sarantopoulos, City Council, 47th Council District, November 4th election. I'm sure everybody needs to come out because this is a serious election. A lot is at stake.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, George.
Together